What is up, everybody, and welcome back to the channel. Today is a really exciting day, a day I've been looking forward to for a long time because we have finally received the Exway Flex. I ordered this board back on June 10th and it's now July 23rd, so I've been waiting for this board for about a month and a half. I've been dying to ride this thing, as I'm sure many of you have. So what I wanted to do for you guys today is show you my unboxing and my first impressions of the Exway Flex after being a boosted board rider for the past 2 years. Now, before I cut this box open, there's some updates I want to give you guys about the channel. I have a ton of new content coming, reviews and comparisons to vlogs, exploring New York City, and traveling to areas around the Northeast, doing some really cool stuff. If that sounds like the kind of content that you guys would like, then I would really appreciate if you hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, so you can stay up to date on all the new content coming out of this channel. Now, with that shameless plug out of the way, I'm gonna go ahead and cut this box open and show you guys the unboxing and first impressions of the Exway Flex. I'm not really sure which side is up. We're gonna give this a shot going this way. This is kind of an aggressive unboxing tool. So it looks like this is a case of a box within a box. So I'm gonna flip this upside down, dump it out, and there we have it. So within the box there is another box. That does make me feel better that this thing wasn't just rattling around there in some foam in the shipping container. Bada bing, bada bing. And voila. Now inside the box you're gonna get your skate tool, you're gonna get your remote, you're gonna get your charger, and then underneath these foam blocks you have the board itself. Also, I believe here is likely your user manual, or maybe this might be the user manual. Really quickly before I continue this video, I do want to note that I opened up this black envelope with the gold lettering, and it's actually a letter from Exway. As a gratitude of your support, we would also like to offer you a $15 coupon discount code. So essentially, if you get your Flex and post a photo on social media and shout out Exway, they will send you a $15 coupon code. I haven't seen anybody else post about this yet, so hopefully that's a piece of useful information. So thank you, Exway, we do appreciate that. First and foremost, talking about the board itself, I can tell you that this is a premium feeling board. The wheels feel nice and soft, the grip tape feels good, it's actually slightly sticky. The foam doesn't compress as much as I expected. One thing that I did notice is that my board does appear to have a slight gap, and I know this is something that Exway said was going to be fixed. This was a batch 2 board. I was expecting this to be fixed, but I think that's just a small matter of fit and finish. Now, looking at the finish of all the components underneath the board, the enclosures, the motors, I think the fit and finish is really strong. The quality appears to be really good. The enclosures are solid, both really good feeling plastics. There's not really any give in either of them when pressing down, and it makes a nice solid sound. One really small detail that I did notice is that the bash guards appear to be a little plasticky. Obviously, with a $700-ish board, you expect there to be some cost cutting. That's a really tiny thing that I don't think anybody is really going to notice or care about. Other than that, everything about this board feels extremely premium. It's solid, it's hefty. Yeah, overall I'm super happy with the package that I got out of the box, and I'm excited to take this thing out on the road, so let's go. There is one more thing I want to mention, and that is the controller. So a lot of you have seen this controller. I think it's a modified Hobbywing controller. The controller that I want to compare it to is the boosted remote. And some things that I noticed are that the Exway remote is a little bit smaller than the boosted remote. For my hand, I do prefer the larger size of the boosted remote a little bit. It also has a little bit more weight to it. Noticed right off the bat that there's almost no resistance to the scroll wheel on the Exway remote, and it actually has quite a small distance of travel. Now compare that to the boosted remote. Significantly more weight behind the springs, and just for sake of comparison, I'm gonna do them next to each other at the same time. I don't know if you'll be able to see any difference. Just doesn't quite have that smooth and confidence-inspiring feel that the scroll wheel on the boosted remote has. So we'll see how we like it when we get out and take the board for a ride. Kicktail, not the easiest to use. We got the remote, that's gonna be in mode 1. I'm gonna pop this into mode 2. Now, right off the bat, I do hear a little noise coming from the motors that I'm not used to. So that's a little weird, but the board feels really good. Brakes are strong. Brakes are really strong. Full speed in mode 2, it says we're going about 20 kph. I think that's probably pretty accurate. It definitely doesn't feel fast. I don't think I would ever use this mode, and I can imagine I definitely would never use mode 1. So I'm gonna get to this light, and then we're gonna go ahead and just go to mode 3. Go inside, buddy. So we disabled the safety feature in the app, so 1 tap, and we're up to gear 3. This is one of my favorite stores in the city, by the way, Crystal Garden. This place is really cool. All right, mode 3, we're gonna go full throttle. Good acceleration in mode 3. It's definitely a little louder than I expected, I will say that, and it doesn't have that instant torque. Mode 3, brakes are really good, acceleration is good, the top speed is probably like a perfect cruising top speed for most people. Like it feels like around 20 miles an hour, maybe 18. I would say like it's about the same top speed as my boosted Mini S, maybe a little bit faster in mode 3. So I would call it, you know, between 18 and 20 miles an hour. And it feels great, the board is really carby, it feels super good. I don't know how well you guys can hear me, by the way, but straight out of the box, the bushings, the setup is perfect for me. It's definitely tight enough where I feel stable, but it's not so tight that I can't carve by any means. It's honestly perfect. 165 pounds, so that should give you guys an idea for what your experience might be coming out of the box. Overall, it's really smooth, it's really stable, the controls are definitely predictable. So I'm gonna find a good straightaway and we're gonna kick it up to mode 4, try to test out the top speed. I'm feeling pretty comfortable, we're not gonna get too crazy. The board is relatively stiff too, it's definitely not as flexy as I think you might think. A lot of people have been saying the same, whereas like if you're used to, you know, a boosted board or something like that, it's gonna be less flexy than that, but it still feels really good and really comfortable. All right, we have the straightaway here, so I'm gonna really quickly kick that into mode 4, and we're gonna hit it. After this car goes by, let him go, let him go. I'm also not used to having reverse, so it's kind of weird having to get off the board and, you know, move it back to where I want. All right, mode 4, I think I have the acceleration curve set to 90%, so let's hit it. Guy pass. All right, another mode 4. Bump here. Woohoo! All right, it definitely has the speed. Now, if you've ridden a boosted board or an evolved board and you're used to that kind of off-the-line acceleration, I'm not sure this is the same, I'll be honest. I'm on 90%, board straight out of the box, but that's how I'm feeling. These are the kind of things you gotta look out for, like I can still see and feel these bumps. Quick flex test, since I know everybody likes to see that. All right, actually the air conditioner's on, hold on. All right, so now comes time for thoughts. And I didn't think I was gonna have a whole lot to say, but I actually do, and I guess that's a good thing for the purpose of making this video. So in terms of performance, there are 3 main things I wanna talk about. The first is comfort, the second is speed and acceleration, and the third is braking. When it comes to comfort, I thought the deck of the shape was really nice. And my feet did fit pretty perfectly into the flares on the deck. I wear a size 10 shoe, so unless you have really big feet, I think you'll definitely be comfortable on this style and this shape of deck. In terms of the grip tape, I didn't really notice any significant shock absorption compared to regular grip tape that I've ridden, but I guess it's definitely nice to have. Wheels. So I imagine a lot of you are looking at wheels and looking at potential upgrades in size or maybe a lower durometer, potentially looking at cloud wheels. I was as well, and I didn't. My thoughts on the stock wheels are that they're good. They're good. It's a relatively soft durometer, 85 millimeters I think is a good size for an electric longboard. Riding in New York City, you know, there's a ton of bumps and cracks and uneven road. Grades and potholes and all kinds of stuff. Whoa! It's a little rough on these bike paths, man. And you can definitely feel that on your feet, so even with the flexi deck and the absorbent grip tape, you still do feel a lot of those road vibrations. So personally, I'm definitely going to consider upgrading to the cloud wheels. I'm leaning towards the 105 millimeter, but let me know what you guys think in the comments if you have experience with either the 105s, the 120s, or if you have another recommendation for wheel upgrades. So next I want to talk about the flex of the deck, and I think this board is obviously flexi, bamboo, and fiberglass, but it's not as flexi or maybe some of the other bamboo boards that are out there. Certainly compared to a boosted board, I would say even the 3rd generation boosted boards, it's not as flexi. I do think it's a really good balance between flex and stiffness, so you know, you're not going over bumps and getting that sag or really pronounced bounce that you might get in a really flexible bamboo deck, but you are getting it when you need it, and when you want stability, you have that as well. So overall, I think the flex of the deck is pretty perfectly calibrated for what this board is designed to do. All right, so now I want to talk about speed and acceleration. So I tried every speed mode, starting at 2, going through 3 and 4 as you saw in the video. Speed mode 2 is a beginner mode. It's probably about 10 miles an hour. I definitely wouldn't use it if you've ridden Escape before, if you're used to riding these kinds of boards. Just skip speed mode 2, disable safe mode in the app, and go straight to speed mode 3. Speed mode 3 was perfect for cruising. It wasn't too fast, the acceleration curve wasn't too crazy. I did set it in the app. I had it at 75%, and it was good. The torque was definitely there. It's not the torquiest board. In speed mode 4, I had the acceleration to 90%, and it still does have kind of a gradual start. It doesn't have that instant punch that, you know, if you're used to some faster or more premium boards. Now, I did recently ride a Wowgo 3X, and I would say the torque is very similar to what I experienced on that board, where again, it's not necessarily that instant punch, but it definitely gets you up to speed relatively quickly. If you've ridden any customized Hobbywing ESC boards, you'll probably know what to expect. And I would say, based on my initial impressions, that the Exway Flex is about the same. Now, in terms of top speed, I did go to speed mode 4 with turbo and got to probably about 23 to 24 miles an hour. I think it had 2 or 3 miles an hour left in it. Again, I'm riding in New York City. There's tons of potholes and cracks in the road and grates and all kinds of stuff to watch out for. And it was getting dark, so I felt a little sketchy kind of continuing to push it all the way through. In a future video, I'll definitely be testing out the top speed all the way, holding down the trigger for at least 15 seconds, and also use a ride recording app to show you exactly what I got on my Exway Flex. So last I want to talk about braking, and the brakes on this board are very strong. If you're worried about the brakes being too weak from previous reviews that you've seen, maybe from pre-production boards, you do not have to worry about the brakes being too weak. Now, what you may have to be worried about, especially if you're an inexperienced rider, is the brakes being too strong. Well, I had my brakes set on speed mode 3 to 80% and on mode 4 to 90%, and I found that to be perhaps a little too sensitive even for my taste coming from boosted boards. And I've actually seen this in another review, but what I did experience that it's slow going onto the brakes, and then it gets to a point where they latch on very hard. And it's not something that's really sudden or jolting. If you're experienced with any kind of electric skateboard controller, you'll know how to avoid it, but it is definitely something to watch out for. And just a few final thoughts to finish it off. There are a couple things I wanted to mention that I noticed that I did hear or see from some other people on Reddit or hear from some other people on YouTube. One is that the motors do make a noise when you turn the board on. So there's like a slight noise that is actually the same noise that I'll hear when I hold the dead man switch on my boosted remote. I imagine that just means that that the board is ready to go, but it is something that I noticed. The second is that when I first started riding the board and accelerating, it almost sounded like there was some cogging or motor resistance. It was a noise that I wasn't used to hearing riding boosted boards. And again, that may be just me having to get used to new boards. I'm not sure if it's something that everybody else experiences, but let me know in the comments if you have an Exway Flex and think that your motors or your belts maybe sound a little weird when you start to accelerate. And I know that's kind of vague, but I'm just not sure if that's something that other people have experienced and if that's normal or something that is perhaps unique to my board, maybe even something that I should be looking out for. So overall impressions of the Exway Flex, it's really good. It's about what I was expecting from this board. I hesitate to quickly draw comparisons to other boards, so once I have a little bit more time and experience riding this, getting used to all the different modes, adjusting the settings, customizing them to my liking in the app, I'll come back with a little bit more of a detailed review. And again, right now, if I compare this board to a boosted board or an Evolve or a WowGo 3X or a Backfire Zealot, it's just gonna be hearsay. It's just gonna be my opinion. And if I'm gonna compare to other boards, I actually wanna show you guys and test them head to head, the range, the speed, the acceleration, and other kind of hard metrics, plus my own reaction and experience with riding them side by side to really give you guys a good understanding for what the differences and similarities are between the Exway Flex and other boards in this category and beyond. I hope you enjoyed watching this video. I'm definitely going to be releasing a more detailed review and a lot more ride footage with the Exway Flex in the near future. So again, if you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe, and I will see you in the next one. Peace.